Yes, thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Craig Jones. I'm with Dennis Myers, the architects. And to give you a little background, Dennis Myers, the architects, is a firm based in Manchester. Dennis Myers is the leader of that firm. He started it 38 years ago. And we are currently 6 architects and 1 other staff member. We have been doing a number of projects over the years. Obviously, education is one of them. The firm has done about 20 public schools, 10 private schools, work on universities. We also do other projects like institutional work, occasional house, theater that we're working on currently. So we have a large portfolio of different projects that we do. Schools is one of them. I get the opportunity tonight to walk you through the project and what is being proposed. So why is this project being proposed? And I just want to put out there that what else would we do but want to take care of our future generation? That's the first why. We take care of the future generation, and we want to provide a safe place for them. And we want to provide the best educational environment that we can. So the first piece of what I'm going to show you is an assessment of what the school is today. Then I will show you what is being proposed. So this first portion is essentially any deficiencies that we found in the school that needed to be addressed. They are going to be in the categories of safety and security, code upgrades, building efficiency, and other space deficiencies. To help you orient, I talk about the different building campaigns that have gone on over the years. The building originally started, the building originally was built in the 40s. It's the older piece up here. Then there was an addition in the 60s. And then a much larger campaign in the 80s. So when I speak about these different parts of the building, you'll be able to orient yourself. The first one, safety and security. Safety and security was something that came up as a theme numerous times, and if you're following the news, you'll understand why, that there needs to be a safe, controlled access in the school, within the school, and around the school. So the first piece that we noticed is we came for our first meeting and we walked up to a door and then had to look for where's the office. And the administration is located on the 2nd level. That is a potential place where it'd be easy to gain access. Maybe a student is walking by and lets somebody in that they shouldn't have. There's a number of different scenarios. But we wanted to address that controlled access point to keep the school safe. There are monitors there. There are video cameras that help you see what's going on, but it doesn't have a person up front. There's also other access points with the internal access to the gymnasium that are a safety concern. There are portable classrooms in the back of the school. Most of you are familiar with them. The students have to go between those two, between the school and the portables. And the portables have a number of different issues that came up, some building efficiency and things like that. But really, there's a safety concern of having them going back and forth between those during the day, or having a student that needs to go to the restroom because there are no restrooms in the portables, and they have to either be able to go by themselves or have an extra staff member to help them go between the schools. Also, there are no fire sprinklers currently in the school, which today's building codes, that's a requirement. Sliding into the second phase, or the second point, was building code requirements. Again, the fire sprinklers, that's the first one that would come up. There is no handicap accessibility at the portables. There would be need to be powered doors and some, a lot of other money put into that. And there are some non-compliant stair railings, and there's a non-compliant stair that's in the older 60s wing. The next phase under code requirements, we noticed that the restroom count didn't match what is required for today's standards, not only at the gymnasium, but also on the upper level of the school. And there are drinking fountains that are required. Another thing under building code is that there is a known structural issue in the school. It's in the library, and it's been monitored over the years, but it continues to move. We put in another monitoring device just to be able to see how much movement we were getting, and we got some extra movement this year when the snow hit, we got some snow loads on it. But that's something that really needs to be repaired. Hallways in the school are not currently up to the fire code requirements. They really need to be, needs to be a fire partition on all hallways. The doors need to be changed out to make fire barrier, and they need to have door closers on them. So, you know, we're looking at a lot of money for things that are not flashy, things that really don't help the education needs other than keeping our students safe. In the 60s wing, building efficiency was a big one. We have the entire 60s wing that is built off the back of the school. It is uninsulated CMU, so it's just a 1 foot thick piece of concrete between you and the outside. And in the summer it's hot. I was up there on a day in the summer and it was 95 in the classroom. During the winter it's really cold. You know, they can get down into the 50s at night. I mean, they've been putting a lot of money into heating those spaces so that the students can be, you know, somewhat comfortable, but you get drafts during the day. So along with that, the roof needs to be replaced. The windows also are not energy efficient, and you can get some drafts off of those windows. Heard stories of leaving a glass of water on the windowsill and seeing it frozen the next morning. There are ventilation and heating needs that are required. You can see on the side of the building, the ventilation is pulled directly from the outside, and this is a potential concern because that's where drop-off occurs, and there are cars that would be parked out there, and the gas fumes are getting pulled directly into the classrooms. Also, under building efficiency, the portable classrooms are, you know, they're just really thin-walled structures, and so they're very expensive to heat, and especially when each one has their own little heating system. This blends us into space deficiencies, and it is the desire of the board and the school to meet all of the state of New Hampshire educational standards. Those standards are outlined as how many square feet is required per student. So anything that is new that is built would need to meet the standards. Anything that's existing, they just need to be able to manage the number of students that are in that classroom. And that has helped develop how many students they do want to teach in a classroom, which is, it's always better, you know, the fewer, but we have 3 classrooms that are undersized by 300 square feet. That would be about a third of the size that it should, or yeah, a third smaller than it should be. So those classrooms really can no longer be used as classrooms. So that, you know, that's one of the potential problems. As we also look at this going forward, the enrollment currently at Hempstead Central School is at 470 students. It is growing in this area. There will be a larger enrollment, and by 2021 there will be over 500 students, so there's like a 6% increase in the number of students over that time period. When we're looking at what the school needs, you need to look at not just the building, but you need to look at the program and the other administrative tasks that go on in the building. So we looked at a district-wide solution that would include special education office for the district, which is currently in the school. It's just located in the center of the school that's hard to get to for the general public. The district IT could be consolidated. The district maintenance could be consolidated. So these are some of the strategies to look at what could potentially free up some space elsewhere and be utilized within the school. The portable classrooms, because they're so inefficient, they really are at the end of their life and will very soon require a lot more money that needs to be put into them. So the strategy is to say the classrooms they've just met the end of their life and they need to find a new home. Some other programmatic things is the use of the gymnasium, and that's both during the day and in the evening. The gymnasium can be used by the public, but it's really hard because there are a number of other functions that are going on. So there is a desire to use that gym in a better way. Currently, half the gymnasium is partitioned off so that it can be used for cafeteria, and it's putting a squeeze on how many classes that the gymnasium can be used for. Also, there's a desire to have a cafeteria that the community can use, and there can be in-school gatherings that take place there. So this is, starting to look at program-wise what could be good for not just the school, but an outreach to the community as well. These are the small classrooms right here. This is in the 40s wing, so they would have been built to a standard a long time ago. And those 3 classrooms just don't work for today's standards. Also, there's a couple small offices that are being used for one-on-one teaching. They're old closets, and that's how they're being used as offices today. So obviously the desire is to not use the old closets for office space. Also, being able to reorganize the school so that currently there's the second grade is split between the upper level and the main level, and there isn't a lot of cohesion with the second graders. And so being able to reorganize the school so that all class grades are together in one location, or as you work around the school, they're together. Another space deficiency is how the circulation works for the drop-off and pickup. The portables in the back are in the way, so when the portables are moved, it frees up a lot more room for a much cleaner way to be able to drive back there, park, pick up the students. So the process, this kind of starts blending into what are the solutions to the deficiencies that have been found in the school. And if you've been in the community for a long time, you remember that since 2005, there has been a campaign to try and improve the school. I was able to pour through a lot of those reports from 2012 or 2010 through 2016, and nothing has changed in a lot of those documents. Some things have been upgraded over time, but we went back and looked through all those conditions reports to see what was suggested then and what needs to be done today. So then we did our own facility assessment, and the facility assessment brought out the items I just pointed out, but there's actually there's a whole list of a lot more items that are pretty much building code items. And then we did a community outreach. Community outreach was in early September. We invited the community to come, and we brainstormed that evening, and we got a lot of great ideas, and we heard from the community how they wanted to use the school, or how they thought that would further the educational needs of the students. We took all that information back into our steering committee, and we've been meeting bi-weekly ever since, I guess it would have been the September meeting and a few before that, and that led to the conceptual design. So here with the conceptual design, we took on this mantra of the 3 R's, which is just a new take on the reading, writing, and arithmetic. So we took that educational idea and we are repairing, renovating, and renewing. One strategy would be to say, let's get rid of the school and let's build new. And that certainly is not cost effective and not necessary. So we looked at all the repair items. We can look back at our facility assessment and say this is what needs to be repaired. Then there are the areas within the school that can be repurposed, reutilized, and those existing building areas can be efficiently organized so that those older portions of the school can be used in a better way today. And then we get to the renew part. When we got to the space constraints and needs for other items or other ways to utilize the school, that's what the renew is. So again, to orient you on the site, we have the 60s, 80s, and 40s wing, and this next slide shows the new components. So in the new portion of the building, in building new, what we came up with was taking care of, number one, the main entry. The main entry in administration is moved down to the front part of the school, and that's a new building component, which is about 2,000 square feet. In the back of the building, because we wanted to do as much work in one location, as opposed to building a number of different pieces around the existing site, we built in a library with 2 classrooms above, because then we can reutilize the existing library for classrooms. And then we brought the music out of the portables into the school and utilized a way to have the cafeteria and community room built off the backside of the gymnasium so that the existing kitchen can be used in the community room. So, we're not building a whole new kitchen, it's just the new community room space. And to orient you here at the front entry, you can see this is the new administrative and entry area. In the back of the building, we have from closest the cafeteria and community room, and you can see this red arrow indicates that's how the community could use the school after hours. They would have an entrance that they wouldn't have to go through the main entry or through the other parts of the school. This is one access point that they can enter into just the community room or just to the music room, and there's a new set of bathrooms back here so that it can be a self-contained unit. Then we have the music room, and then in the back on the far end is the library and 2 classrooms above that. This is back in the back of the building. If you can, I don't know if you can see on this little site plan, but we've got, again, here's a look at the library with the 2 classrooms above and the community room and music room that stretches across the back. And we've proposed insulating that 60s wing so we can just put a new skin on it. The interior is in decent condition. The square footages are right. It's just a matter of making it all look like it goes together and to also insulate that 60s wing so that we can get that really energy efficient and replace the windows. Also, the rear drop-off has been reorganized so that it looks and feels more like a drop-off and not just a paved area with painted lines. In terms of new construction, this slide just shows the new components in the color. So at the top of the screen, you can see those 2 classrooms. This is the upper level. There are 2 4th grade classrooms that have been added to the back. They're right over top of the library, a set of bathrooms, a music room, and the community room. And you can begin to see how there's a big, circular path that you can get through the school. We have to put in an additional elevator. And also in the orange down here, you can see the new front entry. And now that really blocks off or creates a controlled access point to get into the school. So what we've improved here is the safety. We've improved the code violations, which some of those were restrooms. We've addressed the space deficiencies, which with the additional classrooms, the cafeteria, the library, the music room, and all of this leads to a way for not just the school to be a better learning environment, but it also leads to the community being able to utilize these spaces, because in addition we've picked up this courtyard space with a little amphitheater, which would be a nice function space not only for the students, but in the summers the community could use that as well. This slide shows any of the areas that are remodeled. It's kind of hard. The remodel really goes throughout the entire school, but these are some of the larger components. So you can see how in terms of remodel, we've put a new skin all the way around the 60s wing. We've split the 3 small classrooms to make 2 classrooms that are appropriately sized. We've taken the library and we've divided that in 2 where actually originally was divided, but that takes care of the structural issue. And we have some structural issues to take care of directly underneath that in the lower level. We have the nurse's room, the kitchen for the cafeteria. These are spaces that get remodeled in the new plan. So again, we've taken care of a lot of the safety that's been improved because of the fire sprinklers, code violations, again because of the fire sprinklers. Hallways are now appropriately safe so that they have good access to the school. The building efficiency is addressed, and there's just all of those different space constraints as we begin to, as we talked about it, right size the rooms. These are some of the blow-ups or bigger pictures of just the new building components. You can see the library with a hall access that connects different parts of the school. So from the 60s wing all the way through the gymnasium and back to the 80s and the front entry. And then you've got this community room. And in the community room, there is a back piece here that can be converted into a stage. So it's not just a cafeteria that the kids use. It's actually going to have the feel of a nice community space that you would want to utilize. Again, restrooms were added, and that took care of some of the restrooms that we would have needed to remodel in the front of the building, but those have been added to the back. The new main entry, again, there's our secure access point. And so once you come into this front entry, the administration can see who's entering into the front door. They can see back to all of these different hallways, and they would be able to control the access throughout. And it also just brings good conference space for parents that are coming in for meetings. Circulation, I spoke about that before. We have a lot of circulation, so there's more than one way to get around the school so you're not disrupting other classes. We have remodeled rooms, and this is on the main level. We've brought in the district technology and district maintenance. They have their own outside entrance. We've been looking at remodeling or repurposing, reusing some of the special education space so that it works better for them. And again, those are those 3 classrooms that are undersized. They get split into 2 classrooms, and one is used as a classroom, the other is for special education. We have the new classrooms up here, which are part of the 4th grade. And to summarize, what this plan provides is in the new construction, we have the cafeteria, community room, we have a library, we have a music room, we've added 2 new classrooms, the administrative area is new, and the main entry is new. Under the remodel, we are addressing the 60s wing, which is really not very efficient. There are the additional classrooms, special education, and academic support gets moved around, but so that they're into contiguous pockets, so that that they can be in the right place of the school to serve the best needs for the students. District offices have been brought in. Nurse's office has been brought in into a new location that's closer to the front entry. We've done the structural repairs, and we have the fire sprinklers. And I throw this pie chart in here just to demonstrate that the majority of our effort is going toward learning environments. After all, this is a school, so we would want and expect to see most of the effort going to the learning environments. But we did have, a big chunk of safety and security. We had the remodel and code deficiencies that we had to take care of, and then the site and other district-wide solutions that really make this a good plan. So some of the merits of the building is that it's safe and secure at the main entry. We've added all of those new pieces in the back, the cafeteria, library, music room, and what we call a community room. We've clustered the classrooms and improved the circulation throughout the school. It's now energy efficient. We've achieved, savings for the operating costs. It's code compliant and sprinklered. We have improved the site access. District offices have been consolidated, and it meets the educational standards. And I spoke a little bit about the building efficiency, but we wanted to look and see, okay, how have we actually improved it? If we take just the portables, they cost about $1 per square foot per year to heat and cool, because they have AC out there. The portables are fairly expensive to heat and cool. The existing building is about 50 cents a square foot to heat. After we take away the portables and improve all the thermal envelope, the improvements reduce that to 40 cents a square foot for the entire school. And all of that to say that it's going to be more cost effective or it's going to cost less to heat the school after the building improvements have been done. So even though we are adding more square footage than what's currently there, operating costs in terms of heating have gone down. When we look at the numbers, our budget is $7.4 million. 6.4 of that is what we call hard costs. Those are the construction costs. There's the demolition, there's the new space, there's a renovation, there's site work. Then there's soft costs of $750,000, which are the architectural and engineering fees, project management fees furniture, furnishings, and equipment, and technology commissioning. So, you know, there's all these other soft things that don't fit into the actual construction cost. And then there's an owner's contingency, which is just extra money put aside for when maybe site conditions aren't what we were able to observe, or we find other structural issues. So $250,000 is set aside for that, giving us a total budget of $7.4 million. And how that breaks down for taxes, because that's really important to you in this community. We have the $7.4 million that all of the costs I'm gonna explain here are based on a 3.04% interest rate. So all of these costs are in there. And we wanted to break it down and look at it in terms of, you know, different people in the community. So if you have a $100,000 home, your impact is going to be $3.91 a month to do this big of a project. If you have a $200,000 home, it's $7.83 a month. Or a $400,000 home, it's $15.66 a month. So it's not a huge impact, but that's what it takes. So for less than $10 a month on a $200,000 home, this is what the school does for you. That concludes my portion of this. I'll be around for questions later.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.